Welcome. You are listening to Caregiving Secrets with Deborah Greenhut. If you are a family caregiver or expect to be one, and you want to maintain your well-being while caring, then you are in the right place. We need to invent and reinvent family care, and together we're going to do it. My big idea is rational caregiving, and my motto is, let your brain lead your heart. Caregiving Secrets, because friends don't let friends be caregivers alone. Let's do this. So glad you're here with us today. I'm going to have a wonderful conversation with Amit Shrivastava, whom I first met on LinkedIn when we had a mutual interest in caregiving, and I know he's going to tell us some really important things about his background and about his experiences in founding the agency Go Instacare, which is not just an agency. There's a whole lot more to it. So I'm looking forward to digging in. Hello, Amit. How are you today?
I'm good, Deborah. How are you?
Wonderful, thanks. I wanted to ask you to tell our listeners about yourself a bit, and then if you could tell me the spark that got you interested in working in this industry.
Sure, that could take a while, but I'll try to shorten it. My name is Amit, as everybody knows. And by the way, great job on saying my name correctly. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
I'm the founder and CEO of Go Instacare. Before starting Go Instacare, I owned a successful home care company in Chicago. My wife and I started that company from scratch, and we made it extremely successful. But unfortunately, we had to move to Austin because of our son's health. But we're glad we're here. We love the place. Um, and now his health is better as well. But when I was, trying to find a new something to do, my wife and I got to talking, and we were like, okay, what should we do next? We definitely want to stay in the senior care space because it is passion for both of us. My wife is a nurse practitioner, so we want to help, as many people as possible. So when we, started brainstorming, we thought, okay, why not look into senior care as a whole and figure out what problems exist in the industry and solve it at a much larger scale versus, just 5, 10, 20, 30, 50 clients. So that's where the spark came for Go Instacare, where hey, let's create a platform where we can save hundreds of thousands of people, save hundreds of thousands of dollars every, in caregiving. So we started Go Instacare, which is a very unique concept where we try to match the personality of the senior with the personality of the caregiver. And now with the inclusion of AI, very soon our matching criteria is going to become a lot better. So that combined with instant Uber-like caregiver availability is what we're working on. So if I want to sum all of this up, we're trying to create an Uber for caregiving with a hint of Match.com. Why Match.com? Because it's more like a dating concept where you're trying to match the personality of the caregiver with the personality of the senior. Because in our experience, when running the home care company, the magic happens, the caregiver goes above and beyond, and the magic happens when there's compatibility between the senior's personality and the caregiver's personality. And that's what we're working on at Go Instacare.
That's such great news. I know that a lot of my listeners who are family caregivers start off thinking they can do everything and be all things to the person they're caring for. And we know that's a good impulse to love the person and care for the person. On the other hand, I think some of us get in over our heads. So having a go-to, a Go Instacare like an Uber would be a fascinating, wonderful addition to the problem of family caregiving. Can you tell me a bit more? We can back up a little bit. I know that from what you said to me before, there was a family experience of your own that reminded you of why caregiving is so important. What was that about?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for touching upon that, Deborah. That's where actually the original spark to help people and bring a difference to the world came about. So my grandmother was not in a good shape in the last 5, 7 years of her life, and my mother helped her. At that time, we didn't have enough money to hire a caregiver, so my mom used to help her. She was incontinent, and my mom had to clean her and do pretty much everything. And we were in India at that time. Adult diapers were not as common, 25 years ago. And we were all kids, right? We were all teenagers. So we did our part. We were annoyed a lot of times. But that was, when we grew up and when we understood what it took to help somebody and why we are supposed to help somebody who's helped us get this blessed life. And after having kids also, I kind of learned what parents do for a child, right? So that definitely changed us and changed me for sure. And my wife definitely being in healthcare has a passion to help people as well. So that all put together, we have chosen healthcare industry because we want to give back. We think our life is blessed. We've gotten an amazing, education, never had any issue, financially or anything. So I want to make sure that we make use of this life and give back with the knowledge we have experienced, with the knowledge and experience we have gained. I used to work in a financial services industry, and I didn't want to just sit in a cube and crunch numbers. So I gave up that job, and my wife and I started this home care company, and we loved it. We loved every part of it. We sat down with a lot of caregivers, a lot of seniors, understood their stories, and kind of created a system that works for everyone, and that kind of separates us from everybody else as well. But the whole idea of helping people came from my mother, and that's what I want to continue.
Such a good spirited thing to do, and to be able to work with your spouse on a project that you both committed to must be a very exciting and wonderful to wake up every morning kind of feeling. Now, the way you've described it to me, it's kind of like a cross between Match.com and other types of computer matching services. I think I once heard you use the term personality mapping. Could you tell me a
Yes.
bit more about what that is? How do you do it?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome. You caught up on all the amazing points, Deborah. So kudos to you. So personality mapping is basically very similar to what you said, right? Match.com kind of thing. So we are trying to assess the personality of a caregiver. We ask a lot of questions to the caregivers. We ask some questions to the families, and we try to understand what their requirements are, and then we try to match up with the right caregiver. So think about it this way that, and with the inclusion of AI, this is going to improve for sure. We're working on it already. So think about somebody has dementia, and as a family member, first-time family caregiver, you don't know what kind of caregiver you need. So our system kind of thinks about, okay, you have said your parent has a dementia, so you need somebody who's very patient. Not only just all the skill set and experience they have, but they should be patient, right? And they should have a soft voice, and they should have the capability of understanding what somebody is saying. Plus, think about from language perspective. If somebody has dementia and they are aggressive at times, you might want to find somebody who doesn't have a language barrier with the senior. So we consider multiple factors. We have about 30 or 40 factors that we consider to say, hey, this might be a good person for you. But we don't stop at that. We give you a list of all of these people that kind of match with your senior's requirements and personality. And then we say, okay, you can talk to this person, this caregiver, right away. So you can make a call, you can do a video interview, and then you can say, yep, I love this caregiver. I want to, hire them. So the concept, the one of the things that happens sometimes that happens is you go on some of these platforms and you try to enter some of this information, and they give you a list of caregivers. You don't know whether they're going to work out with you, they're not going to work out with you, and sometimes it takes a while for you to figure out what kind of caregiver you're looking for. And we try to take care of all of that upfront. So that's where personality mapping comes into picture. We factor in all of the problems that you're facing, all of the issues and all of the requirements that you have from time, budget, and all those minor things we look at. But the major factor is we think the caregivers also go above and beyond only when they love the senior, when they can make that connection, when there's emotional connection, right? We've had those situations in the past when we were running the home care company. We saw that we were having a lot of attrition rate of caregivers. Being from a process engineering background in the financial industry, I looked at the entire process and we said, okay, what are we doing wrong? So when we realized that we need to send the right caregiver to the right client, that's when the magic happened. Our customer satisfaction rate went over 95%. Client satisfaction, the caregivers started staying with the company for 2, 3, 4 years, and we created a great team. And the concept became so successful that we were doubling our revenue every year. So yeah, we wanted to create that on a much bigger scale, and with the inclusion of AI, we can actually, take away a lot of these gray areas of personality mapping as well, and then we can give you a better match.
Sounds like the folks over at Match.com could use some of your wisdom on this. I remember being on a dating website, and I think the questions were nowhere near as sophisticated, and certainly there were a lot of mismatches going on one of those. So,
Right.
so I think this probably works a whole lot better. But still, excuse me, it's still possible that there is a mismatch. Do you actually do background checks on your caregivers to make sure that things are okay?
Absolutely. Great question. Absolutely. We want to create a very safe community. We run a background check on everybody. And in fact, we run back, and anybody that we find an issue with, we don't show those caregivers to the families. So they won't even be considered for matchmaking or personality mapping until unless they have passed our background check. And very soon we're coming up with caregiver training on the platform as well, where caregivers can actually be trained as well. So you will see a tick mark there that this caregiver is trained. So not only are they background checked, but they're also trained.
That's an especially wonderful part of your system from what you've told me. And I know from being a very harried caregiver myself at one time, a family care, well, 3 times, that because I was looking at the last minute, I was always at risk of not finding the right match
Right.
for my person. So I think it's wonderful that you do so much research before you actually bring people together. So at this time, well, I live in New Jersey. Is it possible for me to use Go Instacare in New Jersey? Where are you?
So we're a small company at this point compared to some of the big ones like Care.com and CareLinks and all that. But we are pretty big in Texas now. We have about 4,000, I would say, caregivers in Texas. We have about in Florida also we have about 2,000 or so caregivers on the platform, and then Illinois is where we are growing as well. New York and New Jersey, we have some caregivers, not a lot, but you should be able to find those caregivers if you went on our website and searched. You can put in your zip code and you can see within 10-mile radius how many caregivers you have in your zip code. And then you can say, okay, yeah, I like that. I'll go sign up, and then I'll start searching and then talking to these caregivers.
Well, I really love the personal touch, and I appreciate that you're not telling me you have zillions of caregivers everywhere yet, because that's something our listeners need to know. But they'll be looking for you, I'm sure. So all of this wonderful service must be really expensive, Amit. How much does it cost?
So Deborah, I'll give you a kicker here. It's all free. It's all free for families. We are trying to, so the way this, if you think about it, right? So our goal is to save money for families. And one of the things that we have running a home care company, we have realized is home care companies charge you roughly about $30 an hour on average, right? And just giving you an insider insight on the home care industry, right? So about, and it's not for a bad reason. Obviously, they are in the business to make money as well, right? So about $15 or $16 goes to the caregiver, about $8 or $9 goes into running the company for overheads, insurance, and whatnot. And then about $5 or $6 goes in the profits for the home care company. So every hour you are using the service, you are spending $15 for caregiver. And plus taxes, let's say $17 or $18 per caregiver. Mm-hmm. So if you had the same exact caregiver available to you to be hired directly without going through the agency, you would not incur all those overheads and profit portion of the cost of $30. So you could hire the same caregiver for maybe by spending $15 or $18 an hour. So when you calculate this over a period of 5 years, generally that's the timeline we assume as an average for a person needing this type of care and 6 hours a day, you could save roughly about $100,000. That's a lot of money for families.
You said it.
Yeah, so we want that money either to be used by the same senior if they obviously needed service for longer, or that money can be used for their kids or grandkids and stuff. So and on the other hand, caregivers could also charge a couple dollars higher or lower if they're working with the senior directly. So with all of that said, it's a win-win for both caregivers, professional caregivers, as well as family members. The beauty of all of this is, as a family caregiver, if you are not feeling well one day, if you have doctor's appointment, because you have to take care of yourself as well, right? And finding a caregiver last minute is almost impossible. And especially finding a reliable caregiver that has been background checked, that is available to work with you right away, is next to impossible. And when you call these home care companies, you might find that they have a minimum of 4 hours, and you need to go to a doctor's appointment for maybe a couple hours. How do you find a caregiver? So if you had a caregiver in your neighborhood who's been background checked, who's got training, and they're available to work with you $20 an hour, I would say you would go for it, right? So that's the whole concept that we're working on. We want to create a safe community, a trained community, a skilled community, and a community that can help right away.
That's extraordinary. Now, could I ask you, since I've been a caregiver at all ends of the life continuum as a parent, and also as a parent taking care of elders as well as my own children, do you have services that provide for childcare as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great question. So we do have 4 services on the platform. We have senior care, child care, pet care, and house care. So if you need house cleaning or pet care, right? If you're going on a vacation, you need somebody to come in, check up on your dog, or you want them to walk the dog or whatever, you can hire a pet caregiver, pet sitter on the platform as well. And all of those people are also background checked. Again, you can talk to them through a video call. You can do a chat, and you can figure out whether they're available during the times you need them or not, and then you can hire them. And it's a very simple process.
Yeah, I didn't realize the services were so extensive. That is so great to know. Could I ask you if you happen to know what is the wildest animal? And by wild, you can read that any way you want to. What is the wildest animal one of your caregivers had to take care of?
I don't have that story in sight because I don't see that type of information. But we do have in our one of the selection criteria, I think you can even select pythons. So if you have one, you want someone to take care of it. If they're a daredevil, they can take care of it. Sure, go ahead and hire them, right? So
okay,
it all depends.
I'm not signing up for that job. I've cared enough, I think.
Right.
So that's good news, though, that there's so much flexibility in the system. Are you working on any other features that you can add for your users at this point?
Yeah, like I said, thank you for asking that. So one of the things that we're working on is caregiver training to become available on the platform. The other thing that we're working on is this client training as well. So as a family caregiver, you have a lot of times where you don't know how to communicate with someone who's got dementia. You don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know how to handle finances. You don't know if it's legal for you to take money away from your mom, right? You don't know if there's siblings involved, and one person thinks one way and the other person thinks the other way. How do you make decisions on those? There are a ton of stuff that you have to learn, and I'm sure there are a lot of resources, but I want to bring all of those resources into one place so that you can just go on the website, on the platform, on the mobile app, and then you can just say, okay, yes, I want to do this training, and that training is going to be available to you for a very small cost.
Well, it sounds like you have a degree in conflict resolution because you have really thought it through. So I'm sure people will be looking
Thank you.
forward. Look, you're welcome. People will be looking forward to that feature, I'm sure. Are there any other or any videos that people can get a sneak peek into how your app works?
Absolutely. So I'll share some video. You have YouTube videos. You have links for links to understand how the platform works. It's a very simple process. You just have to provide your email address, phone number, and a zip code, and then you sign up. And then you can just search for caregivers. It's a very simple, very follow the process. Now you asked one question: what else are we working on? I'm going to give you an exclusive information that I have not shared with any other podcast yet, because we were still in the process of figuring that out. Very soon we are coming up with a verbal communication because of the AI and the technology grown so much. Now you can talk to the app and find a caregiver. So instead of, if you are not sure what to do, what to enter, why is this giving me an error, this and that, you can click a button and initiate a call, and you can say, yes, I want, and then the agent is going to ask, hey, Deborah, today, what kind of service are you looking for? You can say, I want senior care. Then you can say, I want a caregiver for my mom, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in Chicago, and a couple other things. And it's more or less like having a conversation with a customer support representative. And it'll take all of your information, and then it'll give you all the caregivers that match your criteria.
Again, another kind of magic coming out here. So you really are thinking it through, and I'm sure that so many people and caregivers are going to benefit from this mutually beneficial service that you have. So where is the best place for people to find you? We'll put everything in the show notes, but would you like to tell us the best place to start to connect with Go Instacare?
Yeah, the best place is to go to our website. That's a very good starting point. Our website is goinstacare.com, goinstacare.com. And once you get there, you have three sections: families, caregivers, or companies. So let's not talk about companies right now, but for family, you would go to family section. You will see how it all works. There's an app link. You can download the app, or you can sign up through the website, and then you can start. Once you download the app, you will be able to see all of those caregivers within that app.
That is fantastic. Amit, this has been such a wonderful interview. I've really learned a lot about you, your company, and possibilities for family caregiving in the future, and how we can assist each other with this wonderful service. So I'm going to ask you, is there anything else we could tell our listeners today that would be helpful to them to know how to approach Go Instacare and you?
Yeah, so they can definitely reach out to me at support@goinstacare.com. They can, I do get those emails as well. The team forwards me anything that I've given them clear instructions where, any problem somebody's having, those emails need to come to me so we can resolve those problems. But you asked what else are we doing? So caregiver training is one. Client training is another one, and then client meaning family caregiver training is also coming up. Another thing that we're working on is called Power Partners. So I mentioned that I want everything to be in one place, so you can go to goinstacare.com and get everything in one go. In those Power Partner list, we're going to list out the businesses within your local area that can help you. For example, movers. So, for example, somebody who can modify the bathroom for your senior. Places where you can find wheelchairs or medical equipments and things like that. And then it could also have some nonprofits that could help you, where you want information about, hey, does Medicare cover this? Does Medicaid cover this? How do I apply for this, and all that stuff. So those nonprofits might also be available. Something like Catholic Charities, something like Meals on Wheels might also be there. So we're trying to create a community that these family caregivers can definitely take advantage of. And all of this for free.
This is so fantastic to have a one place to go to. I remember all of that frantic searching, and the first time I did it, I didn't even have the internet. So calling and
Oh
calling
my
and
God.
looking, and telephone books, which don't even exist anymore. But
Right.
to have all of this in one place would be such a lifesaver for so many caregivers. So I want to thank you for being my guest today, Amit. It was so good to be able to connect with you again. And I'm looking forward to the future of Go Instacare. I hope you'll stop by again and let us know how things are evolving. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me on your amazing podcast, Deborah. It's always a pleasure when I talk to you. You've got such a calm and controlled voice, and the questions you have asked are very informative. I'm so impressed with how you've gotten the entire how you've understood the entire business so quickly, and you were asking all the relevant questions. So thank you for that. I hope that it can help your viewers and listeners, and we can probably save a lot of money and time in this frantic searching of caregiver, which can help your parent and stop the revolving door.
My pleasure. Thanks again. And I hope everyone will tune in again next week when I'll have another special guest for you. And we really appreciate this day. So have a good weekend, everyone. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me today on the Caregiving Secret. You can dive deeper by picking up a copy of my pamphlet, Non-Negotiables for Caregivers. Go to my website, DeborahGreenhut.com, and click on the link for Non-Negotiables for Caregivers. Until next time, keep sharing, keep caring, and remember, you're not alone on this journey.